Hello, again, this is Ren. I am here with Cheryl Francaviglia. She is our green muse of sacred poetry. And this one was a little bit difficult to work on because I've gone through very different styles of dance that I wanted to use. Like at first I wanted to use stepping, but I'm not as familiar with that as I wanted to be. And then the cast, like I said, has been changing so often that the person before this was going to do tap. And then she couldn't do it because schedules happen. So now we have Cheryl, who I was also very lucky that she taps as well. We actually just finished with a sort of impromptu rehearsal in our lovely kitchen. Yeah. So it's a pleasure to have her on. She was one of the last two, actually, to be cast, which I'm very lucky to have in my cast.
Thank you.
Sacred Muse was also a little bit of a difficult one to define because I've associated with like what would be sacred to people, and for a lot it's like, you know, trees and nature and like things like that. But the other thing I was thinking within the scope of this show was the idea of innocence and childhood being sacred, especially for young women. I think one of the most tangible ideas that I have is when a young girl experiences that time of the month, there are a lot of people surrounding her telling her she's a woman now, but she's 10. So I wanted to include some of that innocence in what we're presenting. I'm not necessarily a tapper, and the other girl, Adriana, I believe she has more tap than I do. So I put together something very, very simple, and I'm leaving this up to Cheryl to help with the rest of it since she has more of a tap background than I do. But also with that, I kind of want to do sort of it's almost a parent-child thing. Not really, because there's like, Adriana and I are the adults-ish, and then she comes in sort of having her own ideas of what she wants to put on stage, almost like playing with mom's pearls or whatever. Yeah. But she also has, as we've seen in the practice we had earlier, we also have like some very creative ways of putting it. So I'm sort of making this as we're almost like the dull adults, and then she has her own thing that she sort of breaks out into. But if you wanted to talk a little bit about this process or any of the other ones that we worked on.
Yeah, no, this is a great process. I really did get kind of asked at the last person, like you said, and I mean, I'm kind of getting everything thrown at me, but I feel such a connection with everything that you're throwing at me. It's so weird, like, you know, everything's just matching up in my mind so quickly. But this was a great process. Like, at first I came here, I kind of didn't really have much planned, but then we just quickly came up with something, and I'm gonna get that improv stuff together, and I feel like next time we get together, it's just gonna be like done.
I think so.
This is good. Great connections, by the way. Like,
she
awesome.
She's danced with Haley and then Annalille in another very feminist piece that I very much enjoyed.
Yeah.
And then I was just lucky because Haley is already in this, and
I know, that was great.
You just happened to be free,
yeah,
which worked out perfectly. Like, this is kind of how this is picking up. But I think your first piece you learned was red.
Yeah, which is awesome. So red, I've never done whacking before, and now it's like my new favorite thing.
It's so fun. We're really gonna work that one.
I'm gonna be working it for the rest of my life.
Thank you for joining us. We have one more muse to introduce to you in the coming days, weeks. Peace.